Alright, ladies and gentlemen, what is good? What's going on? And today we'll be talking about the political compass test. Again, my instincts told me to say the 2020 presidential election, but that is over. In case you need me to say it, Joe Biden did win that election, but now we're going to be doing probably one of my most controversial videos. Of course, the presidential predictions are controversial. Hopefully I'm on the right microphone. Here I am. Um, you know, everything on this channel is controversial because it's political. But this is gonna be an opinion video. I mean, like, I'm gonna express my opinions at some point or another. So yeah, we're gonna take the test. I actually did take the test like a few months ago. It's not on my channel It's not on my channel or anything. But you know, I think I've changed my views a little bit. But anyways, we're just gonna start off. Just answer the questions. I've wasted enough time, and we're just gonna read this. Please note this is not a survey. These aren't questions. They're propositions. To question the logic of individual ones that irritate you, and a lot of these are gonna irritate me, is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme, others are moderate. That's how we can show you whether you lean towards extremism or moderatism on the compass. Your responses should not be overthought. Some of them are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinion. So yeah, this isn't a super hard test to take. Like, you can take it and like know nothing of politics. Actually, my classmates during the lunch period, like actually a lot of my classmates who aren't that into politics took it, and they got pretty accurate representations of what they are. So let's get started. So this is an interesting question. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interest of transnational corporations. Now, I think people who know me or talk to me about politics could make the argument that I'm a populist. I'm not a right-wing populist. If anything, I'm more of a left-wing populist. But I think that populism to the extreme is bad either way because it turns into communism or nationalism, neither of which are good. So either way, though, I do strongly agree. I think that corporations are one of the biggest enemies to the people in America and throughout the whole world. And if economic globalization does happen, which I do think it's going to happen to some level, it should primarily serve humanity. That is 100% true. How do I support my country, whether it's right or wrong? No. I mean, I'm not going to blindly support my country. Like, if my country is going to war in the Middle East and murdering people, I would not support it. No one chooses their country birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Now, this is kind of a weird question. I'm just going to say disagree. And I only say this because of the fact that, I mean, I'm American. I'm proud of being American. And obviously, I wouldn't say it's foolish to be proud of being American, but no one does choose their country of birth, so I can understand where people are coming from. But similar to this question, I'm not going to always support my country. But yeah, our race has superior qualities compared with other races. Now, I think this is a British test, but in this case, I think it's vague to the point where they say, oh, maybe you're American, maybe you're Canadian, maybe you're Chinese, and you're taking this test. It really does depend. But either way, I strongly disagree. That's not simply, it's that's racist. So I'm not gonna agree with it. The enemy of the enemy is my friend. I actually agree with this. This is pretty controversial, and I don't actually know whether this is a left or right wing stance or a moderate stance. But I do think that there are some cases where you're not going to love someone who's the enemy of your enemy. So you're gonna have to become friends with them. Now, obviously, that's essentially me talking to a 5-year-old, but it's kind of that could happen. That can happen in foreign policy. So again, this is not a great way to base your whole. This is not a great ideology to base your whole life upon, but it's still important that we acknowledge they're going to have to settle for the enemy of your enemy as opposed to your best friend. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. No, I'm going to disagree with that. Again, not strongly disagree because they're not defining international law, but it's again, like they said, it's intentionally vague. So it's just basically me going off of my prior knowledge. The Geneva Convention. And a lot of this law isn't against war. Obviously, war is bad. I'm in favor of stopping the wars, but we have to remember that there are a lot of people who are being in previous wars. They were being tortured at concentration camps, or prisoners of war. Like, it's just absolutely horrible. So certainly military action, torturing soldiers of other countries they're at war with, disagree. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And I think that everyone should agree with this. I mean, fake news is going around on both sides. I think primarily it's on one side. I'm not going to say that side, but certainly, fake news is going around, and I think that in entertainment too. For example, just some forms of entertainment that we're probably going to get into this quiz later. I don't want to bring it up if I don't have to. I think most of you know what I'm referring to, but that is not good. So, yeah. Next page, the economy. I'm talking into attitudes. So we don't need to be experts on the economy, just attitudes. People are ultimately more divided by class than by nationality. Again, it's very vague. I'm going to have to say disagree. I think that the nationality can turn into class. There are multiple studies that prove that, for example, your average black person in America has less of a fair shot than your average white person. Again, I'm not saying that all white people are racist or that all black people are being discriminated against, but there are certainly problems in America with racism and discrimination, especially in the workplace, and giving people jobs. Now, controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I disagree with that. Now, inflation is, again, it is really bad for your economy, obviously. I mean, having the price of a dollar, for example, in America going down is a horrible thing, especially for the stock market. But again, I side with the worker more than the corporation. In this case, unemployment. You cannot have a high unemployment rate and have a functioning country. People are going to be starving in the streets. They're not going to have enough money to pay for stuff, and it goes back to the corporations because if everyone's bankrupt, they can't obviously be buying expensive products. So unemployment is certainly more important than controlling inflation. Because the corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Absolutely. Corporations do not care about humanity. They care about making a profit for their shareholders, making a profit for themselves. Strongly agree the government needs to do more to protect the environment in any way. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, is a fundamentally good idea. Now, generally speaking, I strongly agree with that. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't be offering the same social programs to someone who makes $40,000 a year. Someone who makes $40,000 a year rather should not be given the same social programs as someone who makes $750,000 a year. Obviously, people who make more money don't need as much as people who are struggling to get by. The fear of the market, the fear of the people. No, that's simply not true. I mean, it's not. This is, again, these are vague, loaded questions, and this is a flawed test, but, it's a most popular political test. But, by the way, I feel like I'm talking too fast, so if I am, just slow it down to 0.75. I'd rather not hear about how fast I'm talking, because I get those comments a lot. You talk too fast, but whatever. I'll try to slow down from now on, because I just realized that. So the freer the market, the freer the people. I disagree with this. I think that there certainly have to be regulations put in place. Again, on corporations, I obviously I don't love corporations. Regulations have to be put on corporations because otherwise they can be making airplanes that aren't safe, making them cheaper and quicker, and then you can say, oh, here, ride this airplane, and it could be disastrous for the people on board. So certainly the freer the market, the freer the people, not a fundamentally good idea. It's a sad reflection on our society that someone thinks that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. I mean, I guess I agree with that, but just to be vague and for the sake of me being rational, I'll say disagree. Now, obviously, I don't want water to be bottled. I think there are better ways to go about it, but things are always going to, obviously, in a perfect world, things would be a lot more fair, but sometimes you have to settle for what's actually possible. Obviously, we can't have just water not being sold as a commodity. Speaking of commodity, land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. No, that's stupid. I mean, again, in a perfect world, maybe land would be evenly distributed by people, and I think that certainly you can do that to a certain level at a smaller extent. But I still don't really think that land is. It's not feasible in today's America, so I disagree that, it's not perfect, but right now, the system we have is alright. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I agree with that. Again, and, I don't think that anyone should actually put strongly agree. I don't think anyone should actually disagree with this because of the fact that, it's regrettable that many people, like, of course, if people are manipulating money and they contribute nothing to society, I don't think anyone likes that, especially when those people get rich. Now, I don't think that it's necessarily preventable. I think there are going to be dumb kids who get lucky. I mean, that's a fact of life, but it is regrettable in some cases. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Kind of it's a loaded question, but I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this question. I'm no expert on trade. I'm better in other areas, in other areas, foreign policy, and better in then trade. But protectionism, I don't think is. I mean, actually, I'll put this because it is sometimes that's the key part of this, and they're probably gonna mess this up by just because they're gonna think that I'm a big protectionist. That's not true, but sometimes I guess I can agree with that. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to a shareholder. Strongly disagree with that. I mean, honestly, yes, technically, it should be delivering a profit to its shareholders because of the fact that obviously they invested in the company. That's how capitalism works. I'm alright with that. I'm not a socialist, but still, at the same time, we have to remember that people should be, the ordinary people who work for the corporation should be benefiting from it as well. They're too highly taxed. Strongly disagree with that. The rich should be taxed more. They shouldn't be getting taxed 90%. And actually, FDR, who is one of the best presidents in American history, in my opinion, he actually was considered a socialist at his time because he taxed the rich like 60 or 70%. And of course, the rich are going to stuff their money like in the Turks and Caicos Islands, but still, it's important that we remember that the rich could easily be providing for the people sitting below them. And of course, I'm not in favor of giving all their money to the middle class and the poor. That's communism, and that has never worked out well in such a large country, such a large setting. But it's still important that we tax the rich to a higher level, at a higher level than we do right now. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Fundamentally, this isn't too great of an idea because just since well, you have money, sure, but I mean, right now in America today, like, you really have to remember, America is a capitalist country. Whether I think that everyone should have the same health care is indifferent. It's people are going to have money, and I'm not in favor of making healthcare go to the lowest common denominator. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Strongly agree. Freedom of speech, freedom of the press, yeah, that's all well and good. But when businesses purposely mislead the public, obviously, like putting a false amount of GMOs on their labels, or when they go on TV and make up random stuff that is a blatant lie. That's important to regulate. A genuine free market requires the restrictions on the ability of a predator, multinationals, to create monopolies. Yes, I agree with that. I think it goes without saying. Now, social values. Okay, I'm better with social issues than the economy. Let's see how long we are. It's been 13 minutes already. We'll try to get under half an hour. Now, look at some of your personal social values. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, shouldn't always be illegal. No, I strongly disagree with that. Again, I'm a man, in case you can't tell, or I'm actually a young little boy in that matter, or for that matter. I'm not a man. One day I'll be a man though, but I'm not a woman, and I don't really fully understand the variables that go into that decision. That decision should be between a woman and her doctor. It's not the government's business. It's not my business. It's not Donald Trump's business. It's not Barack Obama's business. It's not Joe Biden's business. So right now, I'm very pro-choice. I'm very, very in favor of not restricting abortion, making it easier, because you got to remember, making it illegal for a woman to have an abortion doesn't do anything. It just says, okay, now you got to risk your life to have an abortion. It's the same thing with banning guns. And obviously, I don't like mass murders. It's kind of stupid. Sorry, mass murders aren't stupid. They're horrible, but that was a stupid thing of me to say. But by banning abortion, you're just going to make it harder for a woman to do it, and she's just going to have to go undercover. People are going to have abortions. There are desperate situations that are going to happen for women, but I lost my train of thought. But by banning abortion, again, like I said, you're just making it harder for a woman to have an abortion. It's like banning guns because you're just making it harder for people to get a gun. Of course, there are things you can do to regulate guns, which I'm going to talk about later, but, it's just that it's a stupid thing to just ban abortions when people are going to have abortions no matter what. All authority should be questioned. Agree with that. An eye for a tooth. Agree. Don't really want to get into that. I'm kind of going to skip through these. Also, why the heck do I have this tab open? No, that's not my jam. I actually got rickrolled, and I forgot to close the tab. So, because what I do is I copy, because I have a bunch of other tabs open, but some of them say my name in them for school, blah, blah, blah. But, what I have to do is just copy and paste it into a new window, and it happened that window had never going to give you up in it, so I think I just forgotten to delete the tab, but either way. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Disagree, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Doesn't specify whether it's a public or private school, but I'm just going to say agree just to err on the side of caution. People have the rights, but it's better for all of us. The difference is people keep to their own kind. That could be perceived as racist. I'm going to say strongly disagree. Obviously, a black woman is perfectly fine to marry a black man. Different religions are fine to intermingle, in my opinion. So, very good to mingle. Parents don't have to spank their children. No, that's spanking children is a disaster. It causes stress. It doesn't help them at all. It just tells them that hitting people is okay. Obviously, I'm very lucky that my parents don't spank me. If I messed up or if I do something bad, I get a talking to. I am forced to evaluate the consequences of my situation. That's more rational than hitting your child because they messed up. Spanking children is a disaster. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I guess. I'm a child in this case, but I'm not going to go in. I'm not going to say that I keep secrets from my parents, but we also have to remember. I don't want to copy. We also have to remember that it can be. Some kids do it. Again, it's not really my problem. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. This is definitely British because they spelled offense that way. Yes, I agree with that. I actually strongly agree with that because it's my body, my choice. If you want to smoke weed, go ahead, smoke weed. Obviously, I don't smoke weed. I don't plan on doing that. But if you want to do that, go ahead. It's not the government's business. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. No, the prime function of school should be to equip the future generation with the ability to know what they want to do and have confidence when going out in life. People with serious inheritable disability should not be allowed to reproduce. Nope, my body, my choice. The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. Disagree. The most important thing for children to learn is how to live and survive on their own. How to get a job is one of those things, not necessarily the most important. How to communicate with others, how to have good social skills, how to be a good person, not how to accept discipline from their parents. There are no savage and civilized people. They're only different cultures. I strongly agree with that. Based on they're only different cultures. No one is really a savage, or that kind of thing. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I'm going to say disagree. This is kind of a vague question, but there are certain cases where people are able to work technically, but they can't because of other things that the government may not understand. So, yeah. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep. Now, this is a bad habit of mine. If I'm troubled, I'm concerned about something, or if I'm sad about something, I generally keep busy with more cheerful things. I hang out with my friends. I to think about something else. So it may not be good for me, but that's just my stance, and I have to be accountable. First-generation immigrants cannot be fully integrated within their new country. Disagree with that strongly, actually. It's entirely possible that a first-generation immigrant, and it could just be a little baby who doesn't even remember their time in their other country. What's good for most companies is not good for us. Is ultimately good for us. Disagree. Companies do not care about you; they care about themselves. Remember that. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. I'm just going to say disagree. I don't really. That's not important. Now, and how you see the wider society. Okay. Oh boy, I can't wait. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. No, I don't agree with that. That's kind of a vague question, though, because my civil liberties haven't really been curbed in that way. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic political system. It's an advantage, yeah, but it doesn't mean that a one-party state is good, not at all. Although the electronic age, although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Agree. The death penalty should be an option for most serious crimes. No, I strongly disagree with that. We have to remember. Is my chair squeaking? Yeah, it is. We have to remember, really, that what's the worst crime? It's probably murdering someone. There are really bad crimes out there, like rape, robbery, torture. But I think murdering someone maybe is the worst. And if someone does kill another person, which is an unspeakable act, they should be jailed, of course, for a very, very long time, if not their whole life. But two wrongs do not make a right. And if someone kills someone, and you say, okay, we're going to kill you now, you're a hypocrite. Two wrongs do not make a right. In a civilized society, one must always have people command above to be obeyed and people to be commanded. I'm not going to defy civilized. That's the only reason I can say strongly disagree. Abstract art doesn't represent anything and shouldn't be considered art at all. No. I mean, I don't like art. I'm not very good at it. I'm not very artistic, which is why I like to just squiggle on a piece of paper and say it's abstract art. But on a more serious note, abstract art can be art. And everything is art, actually. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation? No. Rehabilitation is more important. It's a waste of time to rehabilitate some criminals. That's not true. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Again, I disagree with that, not strongly though, but because the writer and the artist are the ones creating the content. In this case, mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. No. I mean, that's sexist. And I actually did watch Ben Shapiro take this test, and he said, okay, well, I'm going to put yes, but, fathers too. So it's kind of contradictory generally, because it's asking about mothers for a reason. And the extreme right does believe that mothers should only be homemakers. They shouldn't have jobs. There are a lot of people who say women shouldn't run for president. That was a big factor in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was the Democratic nominee. Of course, women are equal to men in every way, shape, and form for the most part. I'm trying to think of a situation where men are not equal to women or women are not equal to men, but no, we're not going to talk about that. But mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. That's a bad stance. And again, I can't define what every mother's role should be. That's another key part. So, yeah. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I agree with that. It's really sad, but it's unfortunately true. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. No. Simply not true. If we got the okay, find these propositions on religions and breeds. So this is a short one. Astrology actually explains many things. This is the one question that I really don't like, because I don't practice astrology. I don't I don't look at the stars or whatever, and I don't say this is going to happen based on the law, or whatever. In my opinion, I don't think it does, but I don't want to offend anyone who does believe in astrology. I think that that life is a sequence of random events, but I guess I have to say disagree, but I really don't have an opinion on that question. You cannot be moral without being religious. Now, I am not super religious. Of course, I'm actually Roman Catholic. I go to church, or I used to go to church pretty much every Sunday. Of course, we sometimes messed up. My family messed up, but we tried to go to church every Sunday, and I think it's still possible to be moral without being religious. A lot of my friends are not religious; they're still moral, so I strongly disagree with that. Charity is better than Social Security as means of having the genuinely disadvantaged. I agree with that. I mean, Social Security is great, and I'm not in favor of defunding it. I am in favor of expanding it, for that matter. But yeah, charity can actually be more helpful. Some people are naturally unlucky. I agree with that. I think it's just natural. Some people are just unlucky. I'm not sure if I'm unlucky. I don't think that I'm a lucky or unlucky person. I mean, I guess I'm lucky because I was born into a great life, a great situation, but it's still still doesn't mean that I'm 100% everything goes my way. It's important that my child's school and still no. I don't have kids, but if I do, uh, I don't think that sending them to religious school is my top priority. Now if there's a good school in the area, that has good academics, what they want in a school and happens to be religious, that's fine with me. But it's not the best. Okay, if I look at sex, this is going to be the part where I might get a little bit uncomfortable with some of these questions, but we'll see what we can do. Sex outside marriage is usually immoral. No, because we don't know the circumstances. That's the only reason why. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly agree. There can be a lot of people that say, "Oh, you need a mother and a father." No, you don't. There's no way to define exactly like what you need in your parents. Like there's like no ideal set of parents. And if they're in a stable, loving relationship and they're in a good position to take care of a kid, go ahead. I don't care. Porn depicting consenting adults should be illegal for the adult. Now, I don't watch porn, and I think porn is horrible for you. I think it portrays women as objects from when I've gotten the talk before. It portrays women as objects. Porn is a horrible thing to watch. But it should be legal for the sole sake of the Constitution, saying you can't say that porn is art. I don't think it is, but there is a legal argument for that, and you're not going to win that battle in court. What goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like as long as if it's consensual, consenting adults, no business of the state. No one can feel naturally homosexual. Strongly disagree with that. I mean, if you're gay, you're gay. It's natural. It's not a choice. It's not really. It's like, you know what? I feel like I'm gay, or you know what? I want to be gay. That's not how it works. So I strongly disagree with that. These states' openness about sex has gone too far. No, I disagree with that. Not strongly though. Of course, I think it's important that we educate people on sex because by just shunning the topic, it's awkward. I don't like being talked to about it. I don't bring it up in conversations. Especially with adults, obviously. But by shunning the topic, you're not doing anything to help it, and you're making it worse. But you're by making it more awkward when you do have to talk about it eventually. So no, it has not gone too far. So now let's see where I stand. So I probably got somewhere near the middle. I'm actually more left than I expected, but oh, here, let me read. Okay. Interesting. So, yeah. Alright, so this is, that's my political compass. Thank you for watching, everyone. I thought it would be, more towards the middle, but I'm more left than I thought. If I could pin myself down, it'd probably be, right here. Maybe right there. Something in this region, but... Alright, apparently I'm a lefty, so thank you all for watching this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I really hope you enjoyed. Share with your friends. Let's see how long this ran for 28 minutes, so we got under 30 minutes, which is alright. But... Again, thank you for watching. Follow all the links in the description. We got Twitter, we got Discord, we got all that. So, thank you. Goodbye. Have a great day.